back to BYU Sports Nation live from Studio B. Let's go over to the student-athlete building. Kalani Sitake now joins us on the Deseret First Credit Union hotline. And Kalani, we were talking about just how amazing Friday was. Oh, by the way, spring ball ended. We'll get to that. But first, just what a day for BYU football. And Zach Wilson made massive headlines. Brady Christensen crushed it. Chris Wilcox ran a 4.31. I mean, this was a great day for BYU football.
Yeah, good opportunity for all those guys to get out, just to get in front of the scouts and the coaches and some GMs that were in attendance. And so I think a lot of the guys did really well for themselves and will have shots at the next level. So, I've been saying it for a while now that we want to get our team NFL ready, and those guys didn't let us down. So I'm glad they were able to perform really well and get some really good times.
What did you make of Zach's performance specifically? And obviously the one throw has gone viral. Everybody in NFL circles, celebrities talking about what Zach did. What did you make of that day for him?
Well, I mean, he just did everything that we already been seeing for the last 3 years, So those difficult throws and those creative throws, we've seen them every day. And so I think for a lot of his teammates that were watching, it wasn't anything new, but I know talking to him right after, he wished he would have done better. And that's just because he's always evaluating his performance and always wants to get better. And that's exactly what I expected from him when I spoke to him after he performed and after he threw. And the pace that he was throwing the ball was ridiculous. He was going really fast. I think there was a method to the whole thing. He was trying to throw and try to show how strong his arm is. And even in times when he was tired, the arm was still be able to throw the ball, over 60 yards with ease.
At what point last year, Kalani, did you realize, wow, this is a special quarterback season specifically from Zach?
When everybody was complaining about me taking him out so early and not allowing him a chance to win the Heisman, I guess that was when you realize it. But A-Rod's been talking about Zach for a long time. We love all our players, but we can tell when we have really good talent, and right now the team's full of talent in so many different positions. I mean, we had 3 amazing old linemen perform, and Brady gets a lot of the attention, but you can't forget about Tristan and what he did in Chandon. Those guys did a great job, and I mean, Kavika Fanua ran well. And I'm looking at all the names. Zach wasn't the only one, but Dax did well. Zane Anderson, Matt Bushman was out running routes, and it looked really smooth. And he was big, weighed 245 pounds. Isaiah Kafusi looked smooth, and Kyrus lost some weight, but was still a beefy 325 and ran a 5 flat, which is a great time for a man that size. And Chris Wilcox, you mentioned he was at amazing speed. I know I'm forgetting some people, but for the most part, I was happy to see those guys perform. And then even some of the guys from the year before didn't have a pro day, and so seeing Micah Simon run a 4.3 and Austin Lee perform and Aleva Hifo, Bo Tanner, Isaiah Armstrong came back, and we allowed him to work in our pro day because he's always a Cougar. And, so Bachelor Johnson, those guys, they all performed. We had 20 guys out there doing their thing, and just really excited to see what they can do when they get on teams.
Certainly was a great day for everyone. I want to rewind back to a moment in time that changed your life, Zach's life, and BYU football as a program. It's 2017, obviously a season that didn't go as anyone wanted. You had to make an uncomfortable decision. Ty Detmer is fired as the offensive coordinator. At that point, you don't have Zadok Dinkelman as a committed quarterback, and you pursue Zach Wilson. What went into the decision when you bring in Jeff Grimes to go, yes, we do want to go get this kid out of Corner Canyon who just decommitted from Boise State? How did that decision happen? Because certainly that decision, Kalani, was the best decision perhaps you've made as the head coach of BYU.
Well, a lot of it came down to we needed more quarterbacks here. And then nothing against Tanner Mangum, but we needed some competition. And so I will always try to get as many quarterbacks that can help us win games as possible. And, we have a bunch of them on the roster right now. And so, the thought was, okay, we're going to make a change. And now that was difficult, all friends of mine and former players. And now the decision had to be which quarterback to put all your efforts into. And, talking to during the time, I mean, we still didn't have official hires yet, but talking to Fessy and A-Rod especially, I knew I wanted them on staff, and the question was, okay, who's the best quarterback out there? And we all agreed that we should try our best to get Zach Wilson here, even though he was committed to Boise for a while. It was just give it a shot and see what happens. And fortunately for us, he was able to say yes, and we got that family on board, and the rest is history, and still continuing to be history with the Wilson family.
Kalani, and I asked you a similar version of this question on Friday, but I think it's so important with everything we saw and the attention that was on BYU, not just Friday, but has been on BYU for a while now. How does the program take advantage of it? And I don't know if maybe take advantage is not the right word or the right term, but how do you use this to the program's advantage? And what people are seeing right now with the program, what does this say to guys that want to come here that do have aspirations of playing in the National Football League?
I think we just stay the course on what we're doing with developing our players, the type of talent that we're bringing to the system, and then spending time and giving a lot of belief in their abilities. And then you develop them, and you take guys that some people may not see the potential in them right away. And we have a staff full of returned missionaries, so we know how the missionary program works and how it can be difficult to return from a mission and see how long it takes. And then we know how a body can change after a mission. We have a lot of former players that are here that know what it's like to come out of high school and enter college. And so with that focus on bringing young men that are focused on being here on this team and trying to live the mission of our program and our school, I think, we just keep staying the course and finding individuals that will fit that profile. I've been saying for a while now that we have NFL talent on the team. They're just really young. When I started mentioning it, and they needed some more development. We still have a lot of NFL talent on this team. They're young, and a lot of them will be ready. Next year, you'll have a group of young men that will get drafted, and after that, and it's my job to help them achieve their dreams. And I think if we focus on that, and they'll do some great things in the NFL, but also they'll do some great things in the community when they graduate and leave from here. There's a lot of work that goes into developing these young men, and it's not just the physical part of it. It's everything that's included that only BYU can provide.
We're talking to head coach Kalani Sitake of BYU football here on BYU Sports Nation. You mentioned a lot of the names of the guys who did really well. Let's talk about Brady Christensen for a second, Kalani. We knew that he was a talent, perhaps under-evaluated. I think correctly evaluated after he put up some tremendous numbers, perhaps maybe even climbing into the second or third round. What did you think of his performance, which was very impressive?
Yeah, really impressive. He set the record for the broad jump for all O-linemen, and I think he beat it by a few inches. So, he has tons of explosiveness, and he was undersized coming out of high school, and a lot of the guys that we have in O-line were undersized, but it shows when you're dedicated and you work really hard. And he's a multi-sport athlete, and so we took a guy with a lot of size and ability and potential, and he did the rest. So I think that there's a lot of guys in this program that are just like that fit that profile, and maybe they don't have a lot of the stars right away because no one sees into the potential. So recruiting-wise, we want to get the best players here. Don't get me wrong with that, but we also want to get the best potential in a young man, and it could be athletic potential, but also talking about everything included. It's the spiritual part of it, it's the physical, it's the mental. We want to make sure that this person, whoever we recruit and whoever we bring to the program, that we maximize his potential. And that usually takes hard work and effort, and someone that's really dedicated and comfortable being uncomfortable in the situation that we have here at BYU. It's going to take a lot of work and a lot of dedication and sacrifice, and if you do that, the rewards will come.
Kalani, let's push ahead to spring football because that was also going on. It came to a conclusion on Friday. How would you evaluate all of the spring practices now that you can kind of look back at all of them as a whole? And did you get done what you had hoped to get done?
Yeah, we did. I thought that the great part of spring ball was everyone got really, really good. And if I'm just talking about the quarterbacks, we were hoping to get some separation there. And what we saw is everyone elevated their game. And so We're going to keep it rolling and keep this competition going. And then if we're looking at all the other positions, I saw a lot of people just get really connected to their coaches and to the scheme. And you saw veterans really start to own their position and own the defense or own the offense, whichever side they played on. And I'm just really excited about where this is going to take us. And I know these guys work really hard during the off season, during the time off that they're required to have, and then during the mandatory time that we bring them in and work during the summer. So this is going to be really good. We had 10 more practices this year than we had last year, and for the most part, we stayed healthy.
159 days until the Las Vegas Kickoff Classic against Arizona. With the quarterbacks, did you come up with a pecking order at all, or will that continue to go through the summer and then into fall camp?
We're going to evaluate a little bit more this week as coaches, and I'll spend some time with A-Rod and Fessy and look at a lot of the details that we saw from the 15 practices, and then kind of figure it out from there. But for now, we're going to hold tight and give. I think we're going to give it the respect it deserves, and make sure that we watch and evaluate everything, all the decision making. And you have to factor who are the receivers that they're throwing to, and who are the O-linemen that we're protecting for them. So I think in order to give it a fair assessment, we have to be able to do it give it a little bit more time.
You mentioned a second ago some of the other position battles. Obviously, besides quarterback, what are some of the other position battles that maybe aren't getting the attention that the one at quarterback is getting? What are some of those other position battles that you're paying attention to that maybe are starting to ramp up now that spring's done?
I think all of them are position battles, but I mean, the thing that comes off my head right away is D-line. We have so many different personnel groups that require a 3-man front and a 4-man front, and so those guys competing for starting spots it's a tough deal to go through. But I'm glad that we have a lot of players. And if your depth chart's not completely solidified by the end of spring, that's usually a good sign, meaning that you have really good players there, or it's a really bad sign, meaning you don't have good players. So I'm looking at it and saying that I really feel good about the personnel that's on the team, and the difficult decisions that they're putting the coaches through, and that's a really good place to be, that we have a lot of good players to work with.
Well, it's certainly exciting with everything that happened on Pro Day, and of course spring ball, and now you get to get ready for spring and summer conditioning. Kalani, we appreciate the time, and best of luck with everything.
Thanks, guys. Go Cougs.
Go Cougs. Kalani Sitake, the head coach of the BYU Cougars, on the Deseret First Credit Union Hotline. Deseret First, you know why, we show how.